everybody, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I completely forgot to film a intro to this video, and I didn't want to do it after I had re-decoed the actual squishy because I know you guys like to have it as kind of a secret. So anyway, I kind of hid it from the thumbnail yet again, and hopefully you guys can appreciate the fact that I did that because I do actually like to show off my squishies sometimes in the thumbnails, but today I thought I would, you know, keep it a secret for you guys. So what I started off doing was taking a white puffy paint mixture. I just started painting the whole kind of like body and like the head part of the Yummy Bear, but I actually just made sure to kind of miss out the face so that it looked like it was wearing a costume. I did end up making a different costume to the one I actually planned, as I did plan to make a ghost costume because I wanted it to look like it had kind of like a sheet over its head with just like the little eye holes, but for some reason I didn't kind of just only leave eye holes, I just left the whole face and it didn't look right, so I did kind of have a change of heart halfway through, which was just typical me, to be honest. You know, I always change my mind, and that's the best part about redecos, you can make them whatever you want to make them. So like I said, I just took a white puffy paint mixture. This was just white puffy paint with some PVA glue mixed in, and I just popped this all over the Yummy Bear. I did about 5 layers in total, I do believe. This drove me absolutely wild, and I was filming this for about 3 days so far, I think. And yeah, I was just kind of painting the white layer over the white layer over the white layer, and yeah, leaving it to dry in between coats. And I think I've already said that, but I'm just gonna repeat it. I left it dry in between coats. It's always a question that I get on the comments whether or not I leave it dry between layers, but I do. So anyway, once I had like the white bit completely finished, as you can see it's built up and you can kind of see the yellow in contrast, I then took a red puffy paint mixture, just the exact same formula, just using just puffy paint by the brand Tulip, straight out of the little container, squared it into a little tub, and then added some PVA just to kind of like almost water it down. I don't do this to make it extra sticky or anything, I just do it just so I don't have to use as much puffy paint, because puffy paint is expensive. Anyway, so like I said, I just painted the very top red, and I did start to go over that kind of like chocolatey drip bit, but I actually decided against that, so I just took an off-cut piece of memory foam that was hanging around on my desk and just wiped it off with that. The best part is it's really easy to remove when it is still wet, so if you want to like, you know, change it up, make sure the paint is still wet before wiping it off. Another great tip is to use a baby wipe just to wipe it off rather than some sponge, because it can smear a little bit if you don't, you know, use a different part. So I actually went ahead and did 2 layers of the red in total, again leaving it dry in between coats, and that was what I was left with, a really nice opaque red. I think it just looked beautiful. I then took a piece of memory foam and I just kind of cut it into a long thin strip, and taking some hot glue, I just hot glued it to the very top of the kind of chocolate dripping bit. Now, I would recommend fabric glue for this. People get really mad at me when I say I use hot glue. It doesn't really bother me, to be honest, because I know there's going to be like a slightly hard spot there. I don't really use a lot of it, so the amount of time it saves me is just way worth having that one little kind of hard spot in there. Well, it's worth it for me. Anyway, I then took this brown puffy paint mixture, which I had mixed up from a kind of previous project. I think it was from my like pumpkin redecos that got ruined, and I didn't actually end up posting that video, but I just went ahead and I painted the stick part coming out the top of the Yummy Bear's head in this colour. This was actually quite hard to support, so I just kind of like held the Yummy Bear in place with my arm whilst pulling it tight with like my thumb and my left hand, and then painting it with my right. Like I said, it was quite hard, and I kind of wish that I used an actual like cake pop like stick or something for this, because I know some squishies like the I Bloom banana one has like that wooden stick, and the Yummy Bear popsicles have that little plastic like effect wooden stick at the bottom, so I feel like I could have used that, like use an actual stick instead of a bit of foam, but you know, that's what I just decided to do the other day, so I've just kind of been working with it. I then moved on and mixed up some grey puffy paint just by taking the white puffy paint with a tiny bit of black fabric paint mixed in. And with a small paintbrush, I just painted on a kind of bandage-like design all the way around on the YUMMIIBEAR's kind of white part that I'd obviously painted white. I found this a little bit tricky, I'm not gonna lie, because I didn't know like how to create a bandage effect. So I just sort of like winged it and, you know, just went with what was in my head at the time. So I made some like little kind of like bits go in the opposite direction. I made sure to tuck bits under other bits and just drew loads of lines. Basically, I had no idea what I was doing and I just drew lines all over the white kind of, you know, outline. Like I said, this was supposed to be a ghost and it was supposed to be way simpler, but I decided to complicate things up a bit and make it into a bandage-like effect, if you can even tell what that is. Now this pattern took me absolutely forever to paint on, like I'm not even joking, I think I was there for about 45 minutes painting this on. Like I did it all the way around the front of the head, the back, I did it on like the body parts, I did it on the little arms. I made sure to make it look like it was draping over the feet, and I made sure to make it look like it was kind of wrapped tight around like the neck and everything like that. I also made sure to put a thicker line around the bit around the face to make it look like it was all kind of bunched up there. And I wanted to make sure it was just like look like it had bandages on its face, basically. That's just what I was going for. Anyway, as you can see, this is when I had finished it. I will of course give you a kind of like 360 view in a second, but before I finished, I just wanted to pop a kawaii face on the very top part. If you don't know what this is already, I know it does still kind of look like ice cream, but I thought it kind of looked like a little toffee apple on top of its head, so that's the sort of idea I was going for. More and more I look at it, I feel like it now looks like a jellyfish. Now it has a really cute face on, but yeah, I really like it anyway. I think it looks really sweet. I ended up putting my usual kawaii face on with the big black eyes and a tiny little mouth in between. I also added some highlight to the eyes to add a little bit extra detail, as that is something I just love doing to faces. So I did that with white puffy paint, and I also added some pink tulip slick paint in the colour light pink as the blush on either side of the eyes as well. I did end up mixing some black into my paint to begin with, which was really blooming annoying. I need to learn how to clean out my paintbrushes a bit more, I think, because this happens like so often you have no idea. But yeah, I just used some pink for the blush either side of the eyes as well. So I just let that dry for about another hour or so because I did only thin layers of paint. And once that was completely dry, as you can see, this is how it turned out. The bandage bits, they kind of look a little bit odd. This isn't my favourite kind of redeco, but I do really like it. I think it definitely looks way different than it looked before, and it has got a little Halloween-y vibe. It does still squish really nicely, but basically the concept behind the design was to make like a squishy YUMMIIBEAR wearing a kind of like mummy costume. I wanted it to look like it was actually on the YUMMIIBEAR, not taking away from the original one, and I wanted to disguise the kind of ice cream lump on the top of the head to be kind of like a toffee apple with the stick coming out. I still kept the chocolate because I thought it just looked really nice and was a really nice touch, and in Tesco's we have chocolate covered apples with sprinkles on just like it, so I thought it was just really cute. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!